see anything like this before.
In a nightmare, maybe. Let's get out of here.
We are talking Lycan, a 2017 wolf-centric horror movie, not to be confused with the 2009 movie called Lycan, which is actually the alternate name of Werewolf, the Devil's Hound. So this is also not a spin-off of Underworld. Sorry, folks. This one directed and co-written by Bev Land, and it focuses on the more medical side of lycanthropy. So if you know what that is, it's basically a real medical condition where people almost believe they are kind of wolves in kind of real life, and it's obviously what a lot of the actual werewolf legends are based on. This says it was kind of inspired by a true story. I know there's quite a famous story in France, which is actually what Brotherhood of the Wolf was based on. I wonder if that's based on the same kind of story, but obviously kind of shifted over to America. Yeah. Anyway, it focuses on this group of teenagers doing an assignment for their sort of high school, and they're basically given a project from their history professor, played by Vanessa. And they're kind of researching this local legend about these kind of mysterious maulings that happened years ago. So off they trot into the woods. Inevitably, they kind of get lost, and there seems to be something stalking them from the shadows. What is it? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. Is it a werewolf? Is it something else? Or is it something wrong with someone of their own group? Who knows? You have to watch the film. So let's talk about Lycan. What worked with this film? I've got to say, I thought the cinematography here was quite good. It's all kind of shot on location for the most part, and I thought that actually kind of worked quite well. I actually kind of like the wolf point of view that we see something watching these guys from the shadows. It reminded me a lot of the 80s TV show simply called Werewolf. It did kind of remind me of that. I also kind of like the 80s setting here. So you don't have the kind of things like the mobile phones to kind of get you out of trouble and stuff like that. That was all quite fun. I thought the characters, even though they were kind of fairly stock characters, were still pretty interesting, and each had enough kind of going for them to make you somewhat remember their characters, for example. And you kind of, you did feel their kind of motivations. They were all quite good. And I thought the acting, for the most part, was okay. There's one person who I had a problem with, which I'll come on to now. And that person was this kind of mysterious kind of female who may be harbouring some kind of secret. Now, her performance wasn't necessarily bad, but she tended to mumble a lot of her lines and talk really quietly. And you could barely she was nearly unintelligible because she's kind of mumbling and whispering a lot of the time. So other characters you can hear fine and understand fine, but her, you just don't make out what she's saying half the time. So it's not so much bad acting, but it doesn't project very well when you're watching it as a viewer, basically, because you simply don't know what she's saying. You can only make out the odd word here and there. So that was an odd choice by the actress, and obviously the director should have kind of picked this up. But that was okay. Now, if you are expecting a gore fest, if you're expecting werewolf transformations, you'll be sorely disappointed. This is more based on, well, it airs on the kind of the side of more factual lycanthropy and stuff like that. So don't be expecting too much kind of supernatural stuff. I mean, there is a little bit maybe, but not so much. I've got to say, the biggest thing for me is I didn't feel a lot actually happened in this movie. Not really until the end. You kind of have these guys in the woods for a long time, and there's some weird stuff happening, but you don't feel it's propelling the story forward very much. So you're kind of just left with watching these guys in the woods, having these kind of like little arguments and interactions and stuff like that, with maybe something watching them, and that's 90% of the movie. And when we get to the end, I don't know, it just didn't end on a big bang for me, to be honest with you. It kind of got a bit cheesy. So overall, I have to say, this film was quite disappointing for me. you know, it had the basis of an okay story here, but there was nothing really special about it, and I've got to say it actually fell flat and on quite a few levels for me. So I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.